Hello my charmed ones, and welcome back to my channel for another video. Today I want to continue the conversation that we started last week about the reasons that you are not making as many sales. And specifically what I want to talk about with you today is the idea that I brought up in that previous video about sometimes we have a fear of selling that prevents us from actually taking action to put ourselves out there and promote our business as best as we can online. And so today's video, I really want to focus on helping you shift out of the fear of selling and into a much more empowered state. So today's class is going to be a mix of some really insightful information and also some actual practical prompts that you can use to help you shift your mindset. So this is the moment of truth. Are you the one that is holding yourself back in business because you're worried of what others will think about you and think that you might be salesy or scammy, or that they won't like you for putting your work out there online and self-promoting? I know what this feeling is like. I've been there too, and I still struggle often with promoting myself due to the same fear. Now, if we have never met before, I just want to take a moment to say hi. I'm Alexis. I want you to imagine that smart, funny, and super successful friend who is always sharing the most life-changing business tips and time management hacks, the one that everyone goes to for advice because she just makes everything look so effortless. Yeah, that's pretty much me, and I'm your new on-demand bestie, ready to help you get your life and business organized. If you're not familiar with my story, I was a once upon a time sales and marketing manager for a Fortune 50 company, and I left my corporate 9-to-5 to start my own business, designing productivity and business tools, classes, and courses in 2014. For the last 10 years, I've grown my business into a 6-figure passive income generator using nothing but great content and social media marketing. I have a following of over 150,000 awesome business and productivity buddies over on my blog, my YouTube, my Instagram, and on my email list. And I'm so glad to be connecting with you today on this amazing opportunity to help you grow your own business online. Now, let's talk about how fear held my business back. So when I first started working on my business, I was afraid of really showing up online to share my work with others because I didn't want to come off like I was a scammy used car salesman. I literally had a blog that I kept on the down low for years because I was too embarrassed to talk about it with people that I thought might not understand it. When I started my YouTube channel, I chose to operate under an alias, the handle that you likely know me as today, MissTrenchcoat, because I was afraid to put my own name out there for judgment. I didn't share my awesome content on my personal Facebook page. Heavens, I did not want people that I actually knew in real life to know what I was doing online. And I didn't talk about my passions for creating content with people at work. Even friends of mine didn't really know what I was up to because I just kept that content creator, digital marketer, entrepreneurial side of me out of sight. Now, looking back, I know why I did it. I was afraid of judgment, criticism, and critique. And I didn't want people to see what I was doing and think poorly of me just because they didn't understand what I was doing and why. And you know what came of that for me? It ended up taking me so long to get my business off the ground because you can't promote something that you are actively trying to hide or shield from criticism. Let me say that again. You cannot grow and promote something that you are actively trying to hide and shield from criticism. Can I get an amen to that in the comments? Of course, ultimately, there did come a time when I stopped being so afraid and started showing up more confidently on my platforms to do work that I was deeply passionate about. Go ahead, you can guess what comes next in this story. Yep, once I started showing up a little more unapologetically, that was the precise moment when my business started taking off. Although it had taken me years to get my YouTube channel, for instance, to 1,000 subscribers, once I started showing up more confidently online, willing to talk about my work, then my channel grew 10,000 followers in a single year and then another 25,000 the next year. Big things happen when you combine genuine passion with a willingness to show up authentically, to share what you love with those you know need it. And I really think that this is an interesting time to run a business, right? It's really a great time to run a business. The digital economy is booming. Influencer and social media marketing continues to dominate and will continue to do so for quite some time. And at the same time, whenever something is gaining in popularity, it ultimately gains in scrutiny as well. So now that digital and influencer marketing are more greatly understood by the average consumer, there's a lot of discussion online about the validity and practices of online businesses. I don't think there's ever been a time in history where general marketing practices were more greatly understood by the average consumer than now. We can identify spam messages, ads, product placements left and right very clearly. We know to look for digital coupons for codes to our favorite stores, sometimes while we're standing in line at checkout. Like, do you also do that too? I definitely do. Yet, we know that shady marketing practices involving like data mining and spam marketing and highly sophisticated ad retargeting are commonplace. Mass market manipulation makes us very suspicious of the business practices of brands that we choose to buy from. Hello, Apple, is my iPhone spying on me still? So I want you to know that you really should not be letting fear hold you back from sharing your life's work. Once you release the fear, your following, your business, and your life can change in an instant. Like, we like the idea of instant, right? Not having to wait to get exactly what you want here and now. And if you could set a goal for your business right now in this moment and have it come true for you in an instant, I bet I know what it is that you'd ask for. You'd ask for more income. Instant income. That's the goal and ultimate dream of running an online business, isn't it? To be able to build something aligned with your passions that can truly improve the lives of others who flock to you eagerly, ready and willing to make the investment into your life's work. Just imagine that for a moment. How wonderful, easy, and fulfilling running that business would be. So, what's stopping us from doing all that right now here in this moment? Number one, the fear and worry of being seen as salesy or pushy. And number two, the concern that others won't get what we're doing and will judge us. It's time to tackle these limiting beliefs head on with some really good information. Because yes, there are scammy online businesses operating out there on the web, but that's not you or your business. You are operating from a place of integrity and you deserve to be paid for your work. So, if I help you shift out of the fear of selling and into a more confident and aligned place with your selling, then you can move forward to create that awesome business of your dreams, right? If you said yes, let's get started tackling our fears with some activities designed to help us understand and overcome our fear of selling so we can open ourselves up to the success that comes from doing work that is of service to the world. So right now, really quickly, before we get started on the activities, go ahead and grab a pen and a notebook or an iPad if you like to take notes digitally, or open up an app on your phone or on your computer to start taking notes, because these are going to be some important activities I really want you to take a moment to do with me right now. Okay, are you ready to get started? Prompt number one is, what feelings and beliefs do you currently have about selling, and what examples come to mind that caused you to feel this way? I'm going to give you a few minutes to answer this question, but just to give it a little bit of context, I believe that a lot of our fears around selling come from other examples that we've seen out there. Like, we've seen other people do things and we don't like what we see, right? And so I think that instead of internalizing it, that other people are going to see us that way, right? We need to see those examples for what they are, which are like examples of what not to do. But go ahead right now and take a moment, think about how you feel about the idea of selling, what you believe is true about selling, right? And the examples that you have that you feel like made you feel this way. Okay, so hopefully you got a lot of good information out of your head and onto paper with prompt number 1. So let's go ahead and move into prompt number 2, which is, which brands and businesses do you love to support online, and do you feel the same way about them? Why or why not? I ask you this because I think each and every one of us has at least a couple of brands that we like to follow online because we like their products, we like their services, we find their content engaging or enlightening or fun, right? So they might be doing some innovative marketing practices, right? So I want you to think about those brands and businesses specifically and analyze for yourself how you feel about them and what you think is different about them and the negative feelings about sales that you listed from prompt number 1. I'll give you a few minutes now to complete this activity. Okay, so hopefully you really got some really great ideas out of your head, and I'm hoping that you're already starting to feel a little bit of a shift in your mindset from these activities. But prompt number 3 now is, why is your business of value and service to the world, and who would find it most valuable? I think this is a really key question you need to ask yourself for a number of reasons. On a actual just like marketing and sales level, you need to know what the value is for your business so that you can communicate it to your customers. But also, I think that we need to feel an inherent sense of confidence that the work that we're doing matters and is helping people in some way. Now, I'm not here to pretend that like what you're doing is necessarily saving lives or, helping man get to the moon, right? But you have to keep in mind that there are people out there who really need the products you have or the services you have and the specific solutions to problems that they're facing. You have those with your offer. So it's really important to understand what that value proposition is and specifically who would find your solutions, your offer, your product, right, to be valuable. So I'll give you a few minutes now to complete this next activity. Okay, so hopefully you were able to get a lot of ideas down onto paper. This is a really important prompt to go through. So I recommend that you constantly kind of be reevaluating your answer to prompt number 3 anyway, because as you progress in business, I think you're going to find a real deepening of the value that your business brings through your experience. So now let's go ahead and wrap up with prompt number 4. How does your offer change or improve the lives of those who purchase it? Yes, this is building off of the answer from prompt number 3, but now I want you to actually explain the specific things that change in people's lives when they purchase your offer. Again, this is really important information to have for just like a marketing messaging level, but also for your own personal confidence and clarity selling your brand. And we'll take a few minutes now to complete this activity. Okay, so you probably have a lot of ideas listed out, right, on whatever note-taking device you used, right? Now I want us to go ahead and do a little bit of analysis. And in order to do this analysis, I thought that I would share with you the 3 common limiting beliefs that are likely stopping you from selling, right? So these are things that I see over and over and over again with women that I mentor and work with, helping them build their businesses, right? So you may see that there is a reflection between these limiting beliefs and what it was that you wrote down in your journaling sessions. So the first limiting belief that's very common stopping you from selling is this idea that if I sell too much, people will think I'm being pushy and won't like me. So I have to be clear here. It's only being pushy when you are hard selling, like really going in hard, right? Or using manipulation tactics or talking to people who don't want to know about your product. If you are speaking authentically to your ideal customer through your marketing, they will feel good about the interaction and get value from it, even if they're not interested in buying right now. Again, I want you to think back to those brands that you actually love online. I'm sure every time you see a post, you don't make a purchase from them, right? But you don't mind seeing their posts, even things that talk about selling, because it may give you ideas for the future. It might be something you might want to save up for, right? It just may be a really clever piece of marketing or content that they shared that gave you some value. And you know what? You're not interested in the thing they're talking about selling, but you still got value from the interaction, right? But I want you to understand the reality of this right now. It's only like scammy or pushy, right? If you're doing things that are very manipulative or hard, or like pulling on people's heartstrings, right? To get them to make a sale, make them feel guilty, or if you're talking to the wrong people, right? If you're showing up authentically, talking to the right people, then it's just great marketing, right? It's just community building, right? And you've experienced that firsthand yourself. Okay, the second limiting belief that you might see in your journal entries is, if I love what I do, shouldn't I be doing it for free? I see this a lot, and this kind of comes up in a lot of different ways, right? Like, shouldn't I just be giving away my work if this is like the thing that I'm meant to do in the world? And let's be very honest here. We live in a capitalist society, so no one works for free. And if you feel guilty charging for your work, you may need to get in touch with your sense of personal value and worth. Right? You would be furious if you went to your job and they didn't pay you. That's an extreme example. And luckily, when you have an offer that you're selling, it's a much more straightforward proposition, right? When you show up sharing about your offer, right, at a price point that honors your knowledge and experience and time, you let your customers decide if they want to pay. That's it. That's sales. It's not wrong to sell, and selling doesn't force people to buy. Like, you're not taking advantage of anyone just talking about what your work is. Everyone is, an autonomous being. You can't make anyone buy from you, right? Even people who go in with the hard selling tactics and the real manipulation, right? Even they can't get people to buy every single time, right? So keep that in mind. You do not need to be working for free. No one should be working for free. This is a capitalist world. You deserve to be getting paid for your time and effort, the same as if you were going to a 9-to-5 job. And limiting belief number 3 that might pop up in your analysis is, I feel like my offer costs too much for people, so I'm sensitive about sharing it. So this is a very common situation I see with newer business owners who are pricing their offers according to competitors instead of doing the work to decide the right price point for their situation. And I actually have some extra information about this limiting belief. So you might fall into one of 2 situations if you are someone who suffers from this limiting belief. Situation number 1 is if you're a product-based business, okay? So with product-based businesses, it's important for you to price your products in accordance with your cost of goods, your marketing, and your desired margins. Oftentimes, this means that newer small businesses charge more for products that you can find elsewhere for less money because they don't have the volume yet to be competitive. And that is part of the charm of shopping small. And I would pose this question to you right here, which is, was there ever a time that you paid more for something because it came from a small business and you were happy to pay the price? I know for sure I have done that many, many a times. I don't do it all of the time, right? But I've done it many of the times. But if you're in this situation where you feel like your price point is too high, it's most likely because you are smaller than bigger competitors who are able to offer it at a discount because they are creating products in bulk, right? And something that comes to mind with me is like, very often I will see something in store that I might be able to order like online from like Amazon for cheaper. Now, sometimes these are not one-to-one equivalents. Like sometimes they're not the exact same thing. It's just something similar that you can buy less expensive. Maybe that means that it was made in like a bulk factory, and maybe that means the quality and the materials are not as high, but sometimes it's the exact same thing, right? Have you ever seen something, I don't know, like at the dollar store for $1 that you could maybe find at Target for like $5 or $10, right? I feel like very often a lot of big box retailers, I mean, even like small businesses do this too, right? They buy products from factories, right, that manufacture these different items, and they price it according to like what their pricing structure is, right? So sometimes you can get the exact same thing at two different places for two different prices. But you know what happens, right? People buy because they go to this store, not this store, right? Like they shop at this place, so that's where they pick up the thing, right? They're not necessarily looking to find it the cheapest somewhere and, going all over to find it less expensive, right? So I'm sure there was a time where you paid more for something and you were okay with doing that. You have to be confident enough that your customers understand that you are a small business and are still willing to support you, right? Because of the value that you give above maybe like a Target or a dollar store who doesn't help them, doesn't give them some great ideas for how to use a product, right? So they would prefer to shop with you because they trust you, right? And they like you, right? So that's situation number one. Situation number two is for service-based businesses. So with service-based businesses, I find that new business owners will default to charging what you'd consider like the going rate in the industry for their service, even before they have the experience to deliver on the industry standard level. Now, I am all for charging your worth. But if you are brand new to an industry and you don't have many customers under your belt yet, are offering the same services as others, or the consumer base that you serve is outside of the mainstream market base, you may need to adjust your prices to fit the value and experience you bring. Now, a question that I have for you, however, is, would lowering your rate make you feel better about promoting yourself to your ideal customer? Now, it's okay to admit that you're not worth a higher rate when you're first getting started, right? Like it says there, if you're not worth a higher rate yet, and that's like highlighted in red, because a lot of times I see that people when they're first getting started, myself included, right, might want to charge a little bit less for something like private coaching, right? Because they don't have the experience yet to actually be charging the same amount as like professionals who've been in the industry for decades, right? So by marketing yourself at the current level you are at, right, you are going to bring in clients who are looking for someone who meets them where they are. You see, not everyone always wants like the greatest person in the industry. And I guess if we're going to use coaching as an example, right? Sure, everyone theoretically would want to work with like someone like Tony Robbins, maybe, right? I know he's not always the best example because he's a little bit problematic, but let's just use him and his success as an example. A lot of people look to him as a mentor, would love to be coached by him. He obviously does very good work or he wouldn't be in the position he's in. And he's the kind of person who works with someone like, would work with like a Jeff Bezos or like an Elon Musk, right? Because he charges a premium that they are able to afford. But also, you have to remember, is that he gets transformations that are much more valuable than perhaps, let's just say me again, right? If I'm offering like a coaching package, right? If I'm coaching someone who's a new business owner who hasn't started their business yet, and I'm saying, look, we're going to get your business plan put together and we're going to get you start making your first like $1,000 months in sales, right? That's not going to be as valuable as Tony Robbins working with Jeff Bezos and helping Jeff Bezos work through his blocks that are, going to take him from like, I don't know, where's Amazon? I'm just going to guess like a $5 billion business to a $50 billion business. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if those numbers are anywhere accurate, but do you see like that leap is much more valuable than the leap that I'm helping people make, which might be like $0 to $1,000, right? So who your client is matters. What your experience level is matters. Like I couldn't go ahead and charge people I could never do like a coaching package like to become a millionaire, because I've never become like a millionaire myself. Like I haven't made $1 million in a year for my business. I could help people get to 6 figures, right? Because that's where I have experience. But it would be, really salesy for me to be saying, hey, let me help you grow $1 million business when I haven't done it yet, right? So your experience matters. The transformation that you're helping people make matters, and who your person is, right? Who your person is also matters, right? So if you feel like, oh, you know what? I was charging a lot of money and I was just getting started in the industry, but I don't feel confident putting myself out there with like all the competitors, lower your price. Be clear in your marketing that you charge a certain price point because you're still getting started, right? And that these are the smaller transformations you'll be able to help people make. And guess what? People are going to want to sign up with you for being honest and for being very specific about what you can do for them, right? Instead of what I see a lot of people do online is brand new people will just show up in an industry doing different services and promise really grand results and will charge a lot of money for that. And then people will either laugh in their face, right? And be like, you aren't helping people do that. Or you'll have an experience where people will try to work with you. They'll pay because, they fell into your marketing, and then they'll be dissatisfied with what you were able to give them because you did not match the level that your pricing and your marketing said that you were at, right? So this is important to remember. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I'm going to charge a little bit less for now because I am still learning the ropes. And as I advance, right, year after year, right, you can bump up your pricing until you eventually hit the market rate, okay? So I hope that helps clarify that situation. Now, I hope these prompts and this discussion has helped you to shift your mindset around selling. But remember that the shift that you get today is not going to last forever. You need to continually come back to this work and choose to shift over and over. The reality is that selling is the number one thing that women struggle with in business for a very good reason. Number one, selling is time consuming. It takes a good amount of time and effort to market and sell your offers online. Often, female business owners struggle with the paradigm of trading time for dollars, meaning that in order to make more sales, they believe that they need to put in more work, but they don't actually have the time or energy to do more, which keeps them stuck. And number two, selling requires courage, specifically the courage to put yourself, your products, and your ideas out there in the world for scrutiny. Most women struggle with a host of limiting beliefs that prevent them from sharing more about their business because they don't want to be seen as pushy or greedy salespeople. I totally understand both of those situations because in my 10 years of business online, I have dealt with and had to work through both of these issues, along with all of the fallout that can go along with them. Now, the solution that has helped me continue my business success all of these years has been to use sales funnels to automate my sales process, helping me to engage my audience and make sales seemingly on autopilot. Now, here's why this works. When I use sales funnels, all I have to do is lay out the step-by-step process that my audience will go through. I create the content once, I set up the funnel automation, and then I let the funnel do its job. I don't have to continuously send messages or post content about offers and sales and promotions and selly things. I don't have to constantly think about new promotions or marketing ideas because my marketing, promotion, and sales system is on autopilot. And I don't need to remember to do anything at a specific time. It's all doing things for itself. That's what makes this sort of a system an autopilot system, okay? So I can simply focus my efforts on creating like high value content that attracts my ideal customer, and then the selling happens on its own. And the best part is it's triggered by the actions of my followers who want to learn more. So I'm not selling to people who aren't interested in my work. I'm always talking to people who've opted in to learn more about solving a specific problem. So this autopilot system doesn't mean you're never going to create content again. It means that the content around selling and that process of getting people from being like cold leads to warm leads, if we're talking in like very salesy jargon here, that process, that building the, know, like, and trust even further and deeper for customers happens within this system. So I don't have to do it all the time. I can focus on creating content that is fun and valuable, right? And acts as, this lead magnet for my new customers to come in. And then they decide if they want to go deeper with a certain opt-in or something for free that I have that leads them down into my funnel, right? So that is the reality of why sales funnels work. Now, if you think this all sounds too good to be true, it is not. It is a system that you too can put into place in your business in as little as a day. Like, no joke, you guys, I very frequently, now that I know all this information, of course, will just set aside time in a day and I will build a new sales funnel. In fact, like, one of my current goals right now is to complete one sales funnel every week. And that means I generally make like 2 to 3 in a month. I definitely, map out like a whole bunch at a time, and then I decide and, what I want to create. And then, if I have time in a week, like I'll set aside a block of time to do that work. And guess what? Like, the more sales funnels I have, the more robust my selling system actually becomes. So perhaps you've even heard of the term sales funnel in the past, but you dismissed the idea because you heard they require a lot of expensive and complicated software in order to set up. And that is true of traditional sales funnels, but not my sales funnel strategy. The only business software that you need for my sales funnel strategy is an email marketing software, right? Which is something that you likely already have or that you need to have. Beyond that, you just need to have your offers set up on an e-commerce software, right? So the entire sales process can be automated. And again, you likely already sell your products from either your own e-commerce store or another platform like Etsy or Shopify, right? And that's all you need to get started. So, are you ready to get started putting your sales process on autopilot? My entire sales funnel strategy is available right now on my on-demand self-study program, Insta Income. So, with Insta Income, you can start selling your products and services online through great content and social media marketing funnels. This is a 6-week on-demand course that includes 6 video modules with really great, valuable workbooks that have worksheets and checklists and all that great fun stuff inside, plus 6 coaching session replays and a year of email coaching support from me to help you build your first content marketing sales funnel. And not just your first, right? You're going to be able to use this strategy to make as many as you need and as you like, right? But we want to get you started understanding, learning what this process is about so that you can create your first one. And once the first one's made, you're going to be like, oh, wow, this is great. I'm going to do this again. You'll see how wonderful it is. Okay, so what's inside Insta Income? Let's talk about the 6 modules of the program. Is like a big picture overview. So module number 1 is called Funnel Fundamentals, and it's going to teach you how funnels work. It's going to introduce you to the 4 funnel types, which are basically, I think that most funnels that are out there can be broken down into these 4 specific types. And I'm going to teach you how to create all 4 of them, right? Not every business is going to need to use all 4 of them. I would say that like most businesses could easily use 2 of them, right? But it's going to be up to you which funnel type you want to create. And it means you could make, an endless number of one of them, like, well, there's like 1 or 2 that you might just want to create one of, and then 2 of them you can create like a whole bunch of variety of if you'd like. And then we also talk about in module 1, preparing your offer to be put into the funnel. That's a very important thing you have to keep in mind. Module number 2 is all about mapping your funnel out. So we're going to talk about the parts of the funnel in depth. You are going to choose the funnel that you're going to work on, and then we are going to map out the elements of that funnel. It's essentially, you are going to make a plan for what your funnel is going to look like ahead of time. Remember a little bit ago I said that like I very often will just like map out a whole bunch of funnels and then I'll take one a week to kind of work on. The map is like you're literally your guide for how it works. And I think that once you've decided how it's going to work, creating the whole thing is the thing that just is so easy usually now for me. It's like the easy part. Okay, so module 3 is all about creating lead magnets, right? And lead magnets are that like high value content that's going to attract your ideal customer to you. So we're going to talk about in this module, the customer journey. You're going to actually create your own customer journey based on your business and what it is that you sell and the information that you share with people. you're going to create your first lead magnet, like a value-rich lead magnet, and you're going to set up the lead page for that, which is the page where people will actually go to sign up for your opt-in. Module number 4 is all about crafting messages that convert. So in this section, I'm teaching you the ins and outs of sales psychology, the different types of buyers, and you are going to write your email sequence for your funnel in module number 4. And of course, I give you examples of a sequence for each of the funnel systems so that you're going to be able to craft the perfect messages that go along with that customer journey that you outlined in module number 3. Module number 5, you are going to actually test and troubleshoot your funnel. Look, before the funnel kind of goes really like a hard launch, you're going to want to test the funnel. So we're going to talk about how to set it up to test. I'm going to talk about the analytics that you're going to use to track how good your funnel is doing and how to interpret those analytics so that in the future you can come back and tweak things here and there to get better results with your funnel. That's the thing you have to understand about funnels as well. And one of the things that makes them a little bit complicated is that, you don't just set up the perfect funnel once and it works wonderfully. Like, you have to come back and kind of evaluate it and check on it just to make sure that things are working smoothly. And there are things you can do to optimize it to help it work better, right? So all of that is laid out very easily, very clearly in module number 5, along with how to troubleshoot. So if there's something in your funnel that's not performing the way that it should, and I'll explain to you all of those things about what is performing well, how you know if something's working versus if it's not working, but I will give you all of the how-tos for actually troubleshooting each element of your funnel. And then module number 6 is all about bossing up your sales mindset, okay? So mindset is one of the biggest players that it's involved in this whole situation of you putting yourself out there confidently online. So in this module, we're going to talk about building confidence, we're going to identify your limiting beliefs, and we're going to upgrade your mindset around selling and promoting your offer so that you drop that fear and drop, that negativity so that you can put yourself out there more authentically. Now, what this funnel strategy has done for me and also many others. So for myself specifically, number 1, it's allowed me to scale my business solo without having to bring on an employee, right? I'm not someone who feels like they want to have employees and like run a larger business. I'm actually very content at like the level that I'm at. Like, yes, I would like a little bit more growth, but I don't expect to be running $1 million business by myself, but I also that's not something that's interesting to me, right? That sort of complication isn't what I want for myself in my business, right? So it's having these funnels is what actually has let me scale my business without having to bring on other people, which is like solving all of my problems, right? And really helping me in the ways that I want to be helped as I'm building my business. Number 2 is that it brings me guilt-free sales in my sleep. Okay, so I very rarely make a sales pitch. Actually, a video like this where we're like really talking about a product is sort of like the hardest sort of content that I put out there. And this is like the hardest pitch, right, that you'll ever see me make, is talking about my products like this in depth, right? That's the most in depth I go, right? So outside of that, all of my orders and all of my revenue come in through sales, like guilt-free. I don't have to worry about like, oh, did I push this person too hard or whatnot, right? Like everything is happening without me. I say in my sleep because yes, I very often make sales in my sleep, right? In fact, like I actually had to turn off like the sales notifications for my emails. I was getting like I get too many notifications during the day. I know it's like a great problem to have, but you know what I'm saying? Like this is actually doing the selling for me. And so I don't want to be like annoyed by having to clear out like a bunch of emails every day, right? So that is another thing it does for me. Number 3 is that it's allowed me to focus my time on more creative content and like that attraction marketing element. Remember we talked about attraction being one of those elements of marketing in the earlier video. And so, like I said earlier in this video as well, you're not going to not create content ever again, right? But you get to focus on creating the fun content, the content that you feel good about, that inspires you, that's creative, that you feel like you're giving people really great solutions and ideas and inspiration. That is the content you get to focus on, right? And at the same time, my email list grows on autopilot with a very high open rate. So I'm creating all of this fun content. People are being attracted in. They're growing my email marketing list, right? Without me having to like do anything hard, right? And I actually have a very high open rate for my emails, that when you compare that to like what industry standard is, it's like I'm like 3 times higher than like industry standard with my email open rate. And that is because this system targets the right people, it gives them what they want, and then it walks them through a sequence of emails that gets them, ready to buy a certain product if it's the thing that they need to solve their problem. So that's another thing that this whole system has done for me. And then finally, it's increased my hourly rate. So I went from working 8 to 10 hours a day to having a 2 to 4 hour work day about 80% of the time. I'm not going to say that I only work 4 hours a day every single day, but 80% of the time, I have a 2 to 4 hour workday. That means that I earn more than I did when I was working more because I have a well thought out sales system. So you guys may remember back in like 2017 and those early days, I was working in my business like a full-time job. And now I just don't have to do that anymore because an entire element of my business is, like I said, on autopilot. It doesn't mean you never touch it. It doesn't mean you don't have to do work, but it's one of those things. It's like set it and then you can forget it for a little while and then you have to come back and check on it. You know what I mean? But it really does create a system that does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Now, who is this strategy right for? Let me know if any of these things sound like you. This program is really right for anyone who's got a product or service-based business that they market and sell online. So in the past, I've had stationary businesses, coaches, metaphysical practitioners, digital product creators, and course or membership creators who've gone through this program. I've also had, this was like a one-off, a brick and mortar that markets online but sells in person at her store, who took the course and used it to build her shop's email list so that she could start sending out promotions and get repeat customers. So really, this information is something that you could take to brick and mortar, although you really need to have, I think, be working on in digital in order to get the benefit from this, right? But think about this for yourself. There's plenty of stores that you shop in real life that you don't shop online for. And you get emails from them, I'm sure, right? Like Target, maybe you place orders on target.com, but Target probably sends you emails and those emails prompt you to go in store to buy something, right? So this is information that can help you even in a physical business setting, like brick and mortar setting. And finally, I would say that this is also right for introverts who want to cut down on live interactions with potential customers, or they want to minimize their time selling so that they can maximize their time and energy on their work. When you're an introvert, I think that certain types of interactions with customers or certain types of content creation can feel very draining. And so this is a way that, again, you can set it up once and just have to do the work once and then just go in and tweak. And that saves you a lot of time. That saves you a lot of energy that you can divert to other areas of your business. But wait, okay? There's something new that's coming to Insta Income this month. So to help you get your first sales funnel up and running as quickly as possible, this month, I'll be adding a new bonus module to Insta Income program that will teach you how to use ChatGPT to help you create the elements of your sales funnel. ChatGPT has the power to help you craft the perfect opt-ins, landing pages, sales pages, email sequences, and calls to action to convert more sales. And I want to show you the exact prompts that I use to have ChatGPT take the bulk of the work out of this process for you. So the Insta Income program already includes so much valuable strategy to walk you through step by step through the sales funnel process. But this module is going to take the value up a whole new level, right? So let me tell you, this is the secret for how I've been able to create so many sales funnels recently, is because once I realized I could have ChatGPT help me with it, right? It makes things so much quicker. So if you're tired of trading time for dollars, marketing your business, and you want an easier way to secure more sales in your business without feeling like a pushy salesperson, say yes to Instant Income today. So if you're ready to automate your sales process, I hope you're ready to hit that button and automate your sales process. I want you to go ahead and check out the link in the description so that you can learn more about Insta Income, get an exclusive discount code to use at checkout this month on the program, and follow along with the rest of the free trainings in this series celebrating my first decade in business. So the link down below is for you to opt in to this 10 business decade, the formula for business success, this series of free business trainings that I'm doing. And when you opt in, you're going to be taken to a new page that's going to give you the discount code. It's got the replays for the trainings that we've already done, and all future replays are going to be there, including there will be an invite on that page for you to join me for the live class that I'm going to do in a few weeks. And there's more information on Insta Income to help you decide if it's right for you, right? So go ahead, click the link in the description, sign up for this wonderful free business training series that I'm doing to celebrate my 10th year in business, a decade in business, right? And yeah, learn the formula for business success for yourself. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And make sure to follow me on Instagram at MissTrenchcoat for more behind the scenes of my productivity, life, and business. Until next time, bye-bye.